Welcome to Mobil One The Grid. Coming up, we rev up for the start of the IndyCar season. Take a tour of the GM Propulsion Center and go winter training with the reigning World Endurance Champion. We begin today with single-seaters US style ahead of IndyCar's season opener in St. Petersburg, Florida.
The official test sessions for the Verizon IndyCar Series kicked off at Phoenix International Raceway, one of 6 ovals on the series calendar. Another 6 permanent road courses and 5 temporary street circuits make up the 2017 season, which starts in the Florida sun on the streets of St. Pete.
It's a new start, full of opportunities. You feel like, this could be the year. You always do. You always feel like this could be the one where you achieve more than you have in the past. This is the bit where we really have to put in a lot of hard work to set the tone to begin the race season.
Because the off-season's so long, you're waiting for St. Pete in December. It's a fantastic track. It's a great city. They really embrace the race. Everybody there, and it's an exciting part of the year. You just can't wait for St. Pete to come around.
It's just like the time to get used to everybody again. For instance, Dixon had a sponsor for 25 years. So Dixon is always in a red car. And all of a sudden, he's not in a red car anymore. All that kind of stuff. So to be honest, it is the first day at school.
Since IndyCar's first raced at St. Petersburg back in 2003, the 1.8-mile circuit has been testing drivers with its mix of asphalt and concrete surfaces.
Every street race has its own characteristics that make it a challenge. Obviously with St. Pete, we're half on a runway, half on an airport, half on the roads, and that presents its own challenge, a lot of surface changes. The middle sector of the racetrack is very technical, from turn 4 to turn 9, no straightaways at all, just a series of corners. Turn 1 there is always exciting because it is wide, it's a runway, and you funnel down into maybe 2 car widths kind of racetrack. Doing that kind of corner late in the race with a lot of marbles, walls on either side, tires starting to fade, it can be a pretty hairy moment. So it's a track that keeps you on your toes.
For Team Penske's reigning champion Simon Pagenaud, 2016 saw his dreams realised, but the Frenchman is hungrier than ever to win from the start this year.
I feel relieved. I feel a lot more relieved than usual. I feel a lot more confident as well because I've accomplished my dream. Therefore, some of the pressure is off, but I haven't driven since September, and I'm very hungry for driving. I'm starving competition. I've had the taste of victory, and I want to make it happen again.
For former F1 driver and 2016 rookie Alexander Rossi, preparation this year is very different after his sensational victory at the 100th running of the Indianapolis 500 last season.
Knowing the tracks, that's a huge thing for me. Last year I only knew 2 of the tracks that we were going to, so just being able to start Friday practice off, rolling out of pit lane, knowing what I'm trying to accomplish is a huge step forward from where we were. And then beyond that, from a team perspective, we've put a lot of effort into changing our approach a little bit this off-season, and hopefully we can see the rewards of that starting as soon as the season opener in St. Pete.
Looking to follow in Rossi's footsteps is 2016 Indy Lights champion Englishman Ed Jones, who moves up to the big league with Dale Coyne Racing.
Ever since I was young, watching the Indy 500 and some of the IndyCar races, it was always a dream to get there. To get to the pinnacle of the sport is where you want to be, and to finally get there is amazing. It's been a lot of work and quite a few years, working up to this point, not just last year, but the many years building up to that point. It's great to finally be here, but the first year is always one thing, but staying there is another challenge altogether.
While Jones will have the benefit of racing alongside 4-time Champ Car champion Sébastien Bourdais, the battle at the front will likely be fought out between the powerhouse teams of Penske, Andretti and Ganassi.
You start a season saying you want to win the championship and you want to win the Indy 500. And you start it like that, and you make adjustments as you go. Obviously, we have 3-4 races before the Indy 500, so you try to position yourself in the championship, and you get there, and if you win the 500, fine. If you don't, then you say, okay, now we'll go back and concentrate on winning the championship. And by the time you have 3-4 races to go, you know more or less if you're in the hunt or not, and if you're not, you just go for most wins. You win as much as you can.
From IndyCar to NASCAR, we recap on the first 2 races of 2017.
And the first one is the big one, the Daytona 500. In front of a 250,000 sellout crowd, it was a wreck-filled race, including a 17-car accident at the start of the final stage that ended the race for 7-time and reigning series champion Jimmy Johnson. On the final lap, as others ran out of fuel, it was Kurt Busch in the number 41 SHR Ford who held on for victory.
From Las Vegas, the 2004 champion of the series, Kurt Busch, for Gene Haas and Tony Stewart, wins the Daytona 500.
Wow. And so to Atlanta Motor Speedway for round 2.
Boogity, boogity, boogity! Let's go racing! Drivers!
Kurt Busch's teammate Kevin Harvick led off from pole and dominated the majority of the race, winning maximum points for the first 2 stages. But as the race entered its final laps, Harvick was penalised for speeding in pit road, and it was Brad Keselowski who took advantage, passing Kyle Larson for the lead and holding on for victory.
19 races since Keselowski's last victory. That was at Kentucky. He's got 7/10 on Kyle Larson. But for Roger Penske and Ford, Brad Keselowski wins the Folds of Honor Quick Trip 500.
So a welcome return to form for Keselowski and the team. Next up, Las Vegas.
Time now to talk tech in the USA's Motor City as we head inside one of racing's most successful workshops, the GM Propulsion Center. Detroit, Michigan, once the world's most powerful city in automotive innovation and production, was hit hard during the credit crunch a decade ago. But the resurgence of Motor City is being spearheaded by groups such as General Motors, who invest heavily in racing, all now under one roof at GM's new Propulsion Center.
We really built this facility to be able to have a great combination of technology between the production side and the performance side. We have about 83, 84 people, and that's everyone from the people that receive the parts through the guys that run the programs, build the engines, machine shop. When we built this facility, it was so we could control as much of our destiny as possible. We try to outsource the minimum amount of stuff. Our fully supported in-house is the Corvette GTLM program, our Cadillac World Challenge series, and then also we design and develop and build all the Copo engines for the drag racing community. We support the IndyCar program and NASCAR. IndyCar, we do a lot of testing here. And then for NASCAR, we're responsible for all the hard parts, like blocks, heads, intake manifolds. We do everything we can to try to use our technology and our tools to help our partners win also, not just our factory car.
Providing state-of-the-art facilities to the various race series helps teams in their preparations for long and demanding race schedules.
As racing has evolved, our ability to test on the track has gone down and down and down, right? So you get fewer ability to have off-site testing that's not at the races, and then at the races you have less and less time to test. So it really has put the onus on the propulsion system guys to make sure when these packages show up to the team, when you plug it in, it's very minimal amounts of changes that are needed from the powertrains. That's what our guys do every day. They're always working to really make that seamless, whether it's how the engines go to the team so that they have minimal issues putting them in, or when the driver's using them on the track.
The reason car manufacturers go racing is to market and develop their road car technology, so it follows that GM staff apply their skills on both sides of the business.
A lot of my engineers consistently work very closely with the production engineers, really in both directions. There's a lot of overlap where we can both learn from it. We rotate people through our organization to teach them how to run at race pace. You always have to think on your feet. You have to be able to make decisions quickly, take the data that you have and do it. Especially on the Corvette program, you can see that the racing has truly driven the direction of the production car. We're always doing that shared learning. You know, best practices are the key for a corporation to be successful.
One jewel in GM's crown is Corvette Racing, victorious on 8 occasions at the 24 Hours of Le Mans and reigning IMSA team, manufacturer and driver champions.
The C7R has been an interesting program because it's kind of been evolutionary. The box is pretty small for what we have for flexibility because the rules are pretty tight. So every year we're working on the details so that the team can take it and really concentrate on tuning the car. Each of the factory-supported race programs have about 4 full-time people that are going to the track, a project leader, a couple of track support engineers, and then kind of an engine management specialist. If you look at the history of GM Racing and our relationship with Pratt & Miller, there's only winning, and we do everything that we can, and everyone's dedicated to get there.
For car manufacturers investing in motorsport, a high performance level week in and week out is vital. It's a challenge that GM and their teams relish every time they go racing.
We get graded every weekend, and that's one of the things that is very rewarding. Whether you do well or bad, you very quickly know that the decisions that you made, what the results are of it. And I think that's one of the things that really drives the team. We really race to both win and to learn. And this place is just a really good opportunity to do both of those.
After the break, we go training in the Alps with Porsche's Swiss Master and join US ace Tony Stewart at the Dirt Car Nationals. Welcome back to Mobil 1 The Grid. Still to come, we look ahead to the 12 Hours of Sebring and go dirt car racing with the All-Star Circuit of Champions. But right now, we join Swiss racer Neel Jani as he prepares for the 2017 World Endurance Championship. 2016 was a year to remember for Jani after winning the 24 Hours of Le Mans and sealing the World Endurance Championship for Porsche. With a 33-year-old looking to do it all again this year, we joined him for winter training in his beloved Alps in Seefeld, Austria.
This is why I love training in winter. I hate being in the gym inside. When you see this, what you can do outside, it's just so much. The snow, the sun, the mountains, you just get so much energy out of it. First race of the year, beginning of the season, I get asked, so what did you do over the winter? And I say, well, I was in the mountains training. It's really 2-3 months where you can really push hard and lay the foundation for the whole year in terms of fitness. Once you're here and you're training cross-country skiing or we're ski mountaineering, you really want to enjoy the scenery. You want to enjoy being outside, do your exercise, feel more into yourself and just get one with nature. And I think that's what is nice. And then you're ready to go in that hectic world again of racing or motorsports, just the opposite. So this is really the calming moment.
Jani began training in Seefeld at just 18 years old, when the prospect of becoming a professional race driver started to become a reality. It was here he was introduced to trainer Helmut Fink, and the two have worked together ever since.
Right from the beginning he was motivated to improve, and with every month he came for the trainings, we made some step forward. The special thing on him is even after 15 years he doesn't stop and he is satisfied, he still works hard enough to improve.
The relationship with Helmut is very important because you spend so much time together, off track training or on track, traveling together to the races. We push each other, but that's part of or nature of my job. You have to have competition. If you don't have competition, there is no need to become better at anything you do.
When I train with the drivers, it's a mix of endurance, power training, then a lot of coordination, and all in all also is the mental part of it, to be strong when they come to the racetrack.
You have to do so many switches inside the car, then we have to look about fuel saving, energy use, while driving, overtaking, trying to be still quick. So it's a lot of things that you have to absorb. You can do certain computer tests just to process all those things in the brain quick enough and correctly. This helps us then to be easier in the car. Well, I got into shooting thanks to Helmut. You have to look at your breathing. You know, when you're holding the rifle and you're at the target, but you're nervous and your heart rate goes quicker, and you feel how your whole body moves. This is very fine work which you won't feel in the car, but it helps you in the car. The magic word is mental capacity. If you're on the limit, sooner or later you'll crash. But the more mental capacity there is free, the more time you have to do other things and think and react.
As the 2017 season approaches, Jani is joined by two stars of sports car racing in the new Porsche #1 car lineup and has high hopes of matching his accomplishments of 2016.
After 3 years with Marc and Romain, I will have two new teammates with Andre and Nick. Andre Lotter, I don't have to explain a lot about him. I think he has proven what he can do. And Nick as well, he had a one-off 2 years ago with Porsche. And he will be a great addition to the teams. So what can we do better? You know, this is small things. We know that Toyota, our main competitor, they will do very well this year. They have improved their car and it will be not at all easy to beat them. You know, you can always do better until you win every race, you got every pole position and you win every championship.
Next up, we ask IMSA sports car champion Ollie Gavin for his take on the Mobil 1 12 Hours of Sebring.
Round 2 of the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship sees the teams head to Florida for the 12 Hours of Sebring. The racetrack, built on an old Air Force base, is one of North America's most challenging. It's 3.7 miles around, 17 corners and a mix of surfaces. Few people know it better than 5 times winner Ollie Gavin.
Sebring is always tough, always hard. It's physical. You're bouncing and moving in the car quite a lot, particularly at the corners like turn 17, coming down the front straight into turn 1. Those two places are very, very physical and hard. And in our cars now, they're very quick corners with extra downforce that we have and the work we've been doing with Michelin. Braking into turn 7 can be tough, locking the rears on the way in there, trying to make sure that you get a good apex. Or you can easily overshoot the braking into 10. Turn 13, tower corner, off camber, really tough, bumpy, change of surface, 3 different surfaces you're going through that corner. Sand on the exit, really easy to run wide there, drop a wheel. Guys can get a good run on you there down into 15. It's only a 12-hour race, but at the end of a 12-hour race at Sebring, you feel like you've done a 24-hour race at Daytona or at Le Mans.
As Corvette bid for their 3rd consecutive win in the GTLM category, they'll have more than just the track layout to deal with. It'll be crowded with 50 cars from 4 different classes, all racing from the heat of the morning sun into the dark of the night.
It's very tough there, just because the sun and how it comes down is right in your eyes as you're coming down into turn 17. But also when it's fully down, then you're really relying on your own lights. One of the hardest places to race around in the dark, Sebring is. And you know, it's just one of those tracks that you can never ever take for granted. And you always up against it and you always feel like you're driving 101% the whole time. And you get out the car after a stint there and you're absolutely finished. But it's a great, amazing racetrack. Great race to do.
To end today's show, we go dirt car racing in Florida with the Arctic Cat All-Star Circuit of Champions.
Each February, Valencia Speedway Park plays host to the Dirt Car Nationals, which starts with the sprint cars. Alongside the prestigious World of Outlaws, Tony Stewart rolled into town with his sprint car series, the All-Star Circuit of Champions.
The World of Outlaws is the premier traveling 410 wing sprint car series in the country, but the All-Stars is a little bit different. It's the same exact race cars, but we're based out of Ohio and we're more a regional series that runs as far west as Wisconsin and Illinois and then as far east as Pennsylvania and up to New York.
It's kind of looked at as probably a stepping stone to try to get to the World of Outlaws. With Tony Stewart owning it, you know, we got some new things going and striking a lot of interest just with his name alone, so it's pretty exciting and we'll see where it takes us.
Running TSR and trying to race a full dirt car season is a challenge in itself. Add to that owning the All-Star Series and a NASCAR Cup team with 4 top drivers, and Stewart has a very busy 2017 schedule.
It's definitely a lot of work, and really the only difference between what I did last year and what I'm doing this year is me actually getting back in a car, and the key to making it all work is having really good people in the right places. So we have great people that take care of the All-Star Circuit of Champions for us. We have great people that help keep TSR with Donnie's car and my car going really well. We have great people in Charlotte with the Cup team with Stewart Haas Racing, so you have to have good people in good places, but I'm pretty good about distributing my time pretty even and making sure that everybody knows that I'm in for the long haul.
The Outlaws and the All-Stars put on a high-octane show over the first 5 nights of the Dirt Car Nationals, attracting fans and racers from across the USA, including some NASCAR stars keen to get back to their roots.
I love dirt racing. This is where I got my start in. I don't get to do it a whole lot anymore, so anytime I can get the opportunity to hop in a sprint car and get to have some fun, I try to always enjoy it. Sprint cars are all I've ever known until I've obviously got the job I've got now. So it's where I learned how to do everything when it comes to racing, and so I think it's super important for us to be out here.
The NASCAR guys that you see that are here supporting it are guys that this is how they came up. This is what they did to get their opportunity to go to NASCAR, so they haven't forgot where they came from, and I think that's what's really impressive about it, is even though they're with a really cool job in the NASCAR series, they still come out and support and are very passionate about dirt track racing.
Not just at Volusia as a spectator, Kyle Larson managed to book a ride in Tony Stewart's number 14 car and will get to compete against his own Larson Marks driver, Shane Stewart.
I gave Tony a call and asked if I could run because this is basically the only night I could run all week. So our sprint car team, Larson Marks Racing, headed down, so I got to throw my seat in their trailer and it all worked out perfect. So excited about how the night's shaping up.
I actually get really mad racing with Kyle because he's got a lot of natural talent, and he'll jump into the sprint car 4 or 5 times throughout the summer and get right up to speed. Anytime that I can race with Kyle, it's really cool, and it's obviously cool that Tony gives an opportunity to come out here and play a little bit before he jumps into a stock car for Daytona.
Larson duly finished ahead of Shane Stewart in second on the opening night of the Nationals, but the glory would go to reigning World of Outlaws champion Donnie Schatz, boosting his confidence for the long season ahead.
It's great to have a little bit of momentum on your side. Things change when we get to the Outlaw races. It's a different format, the way things work. We've had really good nights, so that gives you a great boost of confidence. It makes you feel good that you're doing the right things, but these guys are going to go and they'll make sure, and we're going to come back tomorrow and they'll work as hard to get us in a good spot tomorrow as we did today.
That's it for now, but you can keep up to speed with us 24/7 on YouTube, Twitter, and at mobilonethegrid.com with exclusive videos, Formula One coverage, and the very best writers on the web. Coming up in our next show, we preview the Australian Grand Prix with Daniel Ricciardo, meet returning F1 veteran Felipe Massa, and catch up with World Rally Rookies Toyota Gazoo Racing. See you next time.